Shalom. Start off, want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Racha, Hudash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, GMS Ruel. Shalom to the elect, which begins to the 144,000. And to all the Akim and Akwaf that may be tuning in, to you I say Shalom. This is the brother Halal from Great Millstone, Chicago branch, coming at you with another lesson. And 2 days ago, today is February 19th at the time I'm making this lesson. But 2 days ago on the 17th, YouTube had gotten what seems to be, shut down for a few hours. People that were on the app reported not being able to, go on the home page and search certain things up. And people are looking into this thing with a, with a lens, because many of these, social media apps that people use on a daily basis, in order to gather information that the mainstream media, won't really tell us. Esau Edom wants control of it. So when you hear reports of certain sites being shut down for a certain period of time, it's all being done for a specific purpose, because there's a lot of info circulating on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube, primarily by the men of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And Esau Edom just can't have that. And it's going to lead to limited access to, the world around us, which includes this social media. But there's an article from cnet.com, and it says, YouTube down right now? Outage hits over 1 million people, according to Down Detector. It says more than 1 million people around the world reported that the popular YouTube site had gone dark just in time for Olympics coverage, just as people were settling in to primetime viewing hours on the East Coast in the United States and the end of the workday in the West. YouTube seemed to take a nap as more than 800,000 people in the U.S. and hundreds of thousands elsewhere in the world reported the loss of the feed, according to Down Detector. The outage started to gain traction at 5 p.m. Pacific time and quickly spiked to 338,000 reports by 5:10 p.m. It's like 338,308 reports by 5:10 p.m. according to the data detector's graph. So, YouTube is shut down, for a couple of hours, and people weren't able to access, certain channels and receive information. And coming into these last days, Esau Edom is going to limit access to these social media sites, especially sites where a great deal of information is circulating, exposing his wickedness, man. If Esau and those Amalekites, the chief house of Esau Edom, which consists of those people in the Holy Land, pretending to be the Israelites. So let's go to Psalms chapter 19, because the internet was prophesied in the Bible, man. It was prophesied that this tool will be used, for the truth to be pushed out to the four corners of the earth. It's Psalms 19:1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech. Night unto night sheweth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone throughout all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. So what is this talking about? It's talking about the internet, man. And the clues are especially in the second and third verse, where it says, day unto day other speech, referring to how you can access, YouTube and other social media sites, 24 hours a day. There's not a time limit on it. You can listen to it in any language, Mandarin, English, Spanish, Portuguese, different dialects, languages around the world. So this is referring to the internet. And the prophets, beginning with the apostles' ministry, they came on YouTube in 2007, 19 years ago. They have pushed this word out to the four corners of the earth, man. Now you have Israelites waking up all over the world. In the UK, you got the brothers in Nigeria, brothers in Thailand. You got camps out there in Mexico. The word and the gospel of Yahweh B'Shem Al Shai has been spread throughout the earth, which means what? More info on Esau Edom's wickedness and more of his wicked acts being exposed, from the social media apps that he has given people. But the reason Esau Edom pushed these social media apps out is so that people can consume as much folly as they can. But when people are actually consuming valuable information, that their government doesn't want them to know about, then it becomes a problem. Then certain apps are shut down for a few hours, man. And millions of people have no access to info. And eventually there's going to be a grid shutdown in America. According to biblical prophecy, there's going to be blackouts. Scripture spoke about let's go to 2 Ezra 15. Because all this is just a prelude, to the famine of the word, man. Everything we see, Esau Edom being exposed, these apps being shut down, this is being done ultimately to silence truth. But it's 2 Ezra 15 and let's see, verse 14. Woe to the world and to them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, in invading one another they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. This next verse of the point, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. And what does this signify? That going into these days of evil, that people are not going to have access to things such as the internet, the expressway, the highways, the ability to be able to move around at your own pace, go wherever you want, when you want. Esau is going to take that away, because of the unlimited, flow of information that's circulating in these different social media apps, man. Shameful spewing upon his glory. That's what Esau Edom doesn't want to happen. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 4. And it says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So according to prophecy, in the last days, knowledge will be increased on a grand scale. And this technology and these social media apps have amplified the amount of knowledge that the average person has access to. Especially these phones they be holding in our hands. We have a supercomputer in our hands, man. That we can look up anything that we want to research, any history that we want to go into. It's all there right in front of us, man. And Esau Edom didn't create this for this exact reason. Matter of fact, Salakia, Jake actually created, many of these tools that Esau Edom uses in modern day society. But Esau Edom wants to ultimately take it away. So let's end it off with Amos chapter 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, and shall not find it. In that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. And the thirst represents what? The word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. So YouTube being shut down for those, few hours, that is a prelude to the eventual famine of the world that is going to come, in which people will not have access to information. And outside of that, people won't have access to, the essential things of life. As this beast system, as this charagma, RFID C-HIP system is slowly but surely and gradually being worked on, you know, until it is eventually pushed to the forefront as a new way of life. So, I hope this lesson was edifying. And with that, I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak Wadash. Level honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, G. Messeru, Well, Shalom. And until the next lesson.